Hello, everyone, and welcome to Developing Palettes. I am Aaron Loomis, and with me, as always, is June Liu. How you doing, June?
Fantastic.
Great. So today we are talking about the Cordoba and Morales Finca Santa Fe, and this cigar is a Toro, 6 inches by 52 ring gauge. This comes out of the American Caribbean Cigars factory in Nicaragua, and the wrapper on this is Criollo 98, and the binder and filler are both undisclosed. The blender is Zarius Mustafa Cordoba, and the price point on this cigar is $20. Cigar was released in May of 2016. And with all the cigar details out of the way, we'll get into our pre-light experience. So, June, what was your pre-light experience like?
I thought the cigar itself looked really good. I dug the band. I like that bronze thing going on, and then I think the background is tobacco farm, and the leaves growing. So I like that. In terms of the actual wrapper look and the cigar look, it had a nice caramel shade wrapper to it. The cigar itself was just really smooth and kind of silky feeling. Things well pressed, seems almost invisible. Bunch of roll, feels well executed. Had a nice uniform give to it. The head was finished off with a nicely applied triple cap. Going into the pre-light aromas, off the wrapper I got some fresh and pungent barnyard, cedar and plywood. Just wood. I don't know why I wrote plywood. That was retarded. It's like I'm trying to be Charlie or something. The foot, I got some ripe plums, cedar, and dry white pepper spice. Cold draw, namely got dry cardboard, cedar, and slightly lip tingling white pepper. All in all, good presentation.
Yeah, the wrapper was like a light brown, and there was some visible veins that kind of crisscross the wrapper. The seams were visible but smooth. Triple cap really nicely applied. The foot's closed with some excess wrapper that's kind of folded over there. Like you were saying, the band is really nice. It's got kind of that orange gold. It's got the cigar name and that picture of the tobacco field there, kind of centered in an oval in the middle of the band. There's also like a fabric footband that's kind of a similar matching orange gold color. It's very sparkly, looks pretty nice. The aroma from the wrapper was like a light sweet hay, and the aroma from the foot was pretty much the same due to the closed foot. I didn't really get any differences there. Pre-light draw for me was like a faint raisin sweetness. It's kind of tough doing a cold draw on a cigar with a closed foot, like that's fully closed, just because you can't get a lot of air movement. But I was able to still be able to detect a little bit of that raisin sweetness there. So getting into flavor, first third to final third, what was your experience like?
I thought that from the first draw, I knew that when I took that first draw, it's going to be one of those where it's a very well balanced and nuanced kind of a cigar.
Mm-hmm.
So given that overall profile, the flavors I tasted was I got creamy bread, like nuttiness associated with some dried nuts, aged cedar, light sweet cream, and very balanced tongue layering white pepper. Halfway through the first third, that white pepper started to kind of cake my palate into like a very pleasant, slick and oily kind of like a pepper zing to it. Through the retro, I got amplified white pepper, but still it was amplified, but it was still pleasurable and not the kind where it stings your nose and you want to go sneeze or something.
Mm-hmm.
And in conjunction to that, cedar and bread. Finish, I got a slick and oily white pepper and oak. Strength and body within the first third, right at medium. So moving on to the second third, it kind of, similar lines within what was going on in the first third, but the profile became more robust. So I got fuller and more distinctive notes of the cream. And that cream, I really associated with that bread that I was tasting, and at times, that creaminess in that bread kind of tasted a little buttery. So tasty note I love. And then I got a sharper cedar as compared to the first third aged cedar, and I got deeper dry white pepper spice. Uh, there's still that, within those notes that got amplified. I still tasted that the dry nuts and the light sweet cream and that slick and oily pepper zing. So through the retro, still that the good kind of the intensified white pepper, cedar, creamy bread, and a little bit of barnyard. Finish continuously linger with oily white pepper and oak. Body still at a medium, and strength was still at a medium, but I kind of felt like I was kind of trying to get into that medium full range. So going into the last third keeps in place, pace with the second third. Still full and distinctive flavors of creamy and slightly buttery bread, sharp cedar, dried nuts, light sweet cream, slick and oily pepperzing. Toward the last 2 inches of the last third, I started getting the savory saltiness mixing in, and that paired really well with the cedar note. Through the nose, still intensified white pepper, cedar, creamy bread, and slight barnyard. Finish, I got the continuation of that savory saltiness, and that mixed in really well with that oily pepperzing and the oak woodiness. In terms of strength and body within the last third, still overall medium.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, upon lighting, I was greeted with cedar and a mild, slightly sweet cinnamon. The retro had a super sharp, spicy cedar, which gave me a lot of a zing through my nostrils. A 1/4 inch in, still slightly sweet and spicy cedar remained. The retrohale was, it was even more of a zing at that point. Even though that the strength of the cigar wasn't that high, it was just a really, really, really bright, spicy profile. Just before the 1 inch mark, the sweetness went away. The profile was just a slightly spicy cedar, and the retrohale had toned down that spice, causing less of a zing through my nose. Passing the inch mark, spice from the cedar had transitioned to more of a mild black pepper, and the retrohale now was much smoother and carried the kind of that same cedar and mild black pepper note. As the third finished, it was primarily cedar with a little bit of black pepper, and the strength was right at medium. And then getting into the second third, a little sweetness came back to the cedar while the mild black pepper still remained in the background. The retrohale was now a creamy cedar and there was no zing to it at all. And then 1/2 inch in, the sweetness dialed back a bit. There was still that cedar up front. There was a little bit of black pepper on the finish. And then 1.25 inches in, the sweetness in the black pepper went away and the cedar was the lone flavor. And then 1.5 inches in, the black pepper returned to mixing with the cedar. But the retrohale remained that creamy cedar that I was getting previously. And the third finished out with that cedar and black pepper, and the strength was just below medium for me. And getting into the final third, cedar was still the lone flavor. Retrohale consisted of cedar and a little bit of black pepper. And then 1/4 inch in, the pepper went away and that bit of cream came back to mix in with the cedar. And then 1 inch in, the pepper came back and mixed that with that creamy cedar. And then 1.5 inches in, a little bit of bitterness joined in with the creamy oak and the pepper. And that's pretty much how the profile kind of finished out for the cigar, and the strength was just kind of a tick above medium. So performance-wise, what were you getting for burn and draw?
Very well constructed. I got total smoking time of incredible 3 hours and 10 minutes. I think I have I got a little bit of ADD smoking the cigar because I was like, man, I'm still going. 50 hours, I'm still going. But it was a tasty cigar for me, so I didn't mind too much. Burn line was almost razor sharp. Ash held on strong, averaging 1.5 inch increments. So very good burn in general. Going out to the draw. Draw was absolutely amazing. It was the highest score that we give out in scores. I give it an amazing score. Just the right amount of resistance that I like, without having to pull on it too hard or too soft, and let me taste all the complexities and nuances of the cigar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the burn was perfect for me through the first half of the cigar, and then getting into the second half, the burn skewed a bit and the cigar went out on me twice in the remainder of that second third, so I had to relight it twice there. But same for me in ash retention, I was getting a 1.5 inch segment, so the ash retention was good. Draw, it was a little tighter than I prefer, but I don't think it was detrimental detrimental to the flavors, but that may not be the case based on the flavors that you're getting that were very different than what I got. So, overall, what were your thoughts on the cigar?
Um, so as much as I really hate this term, I think this cigar was very Cuban-esque.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I say I really hate this term is because I feel like it's oftentimes misused. I feel like it's oftentimes used as a marketing ploy. That's my main beef with it. Um, so, and what do I mean by Cubanesque? I feel like every time a cigar is very nuanced, well balanced, and it's kind of the kind of cigar that's not going to hit your palate immediately with like power and strength. It's more of like a harmonious blend.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is Cubanesque. So to that extent, I feel like it's very Cubanesque. Um, and another thought that I had was I know that this cigar was aged in rum barrels.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't taste any rum barrel notes at all. And typically, you know, when I think about cigars that are aged in spirits, let's say, such as like take for instance Fuente Anejos being in Kodak barrels.
Mm-hmm.
That to me imparts like a ripe stone fruitness. Maybe it's some very like chewy dry fruit sort of nature. For me, if something is aged in rum barrels, it should taste like dark rum, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
meaning molasses, some vanilla notes, perhaps. Just very jammy stone fruits in general. I didn't get any of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how long maybe they just like put it in there for 24 hours. I don't freaking know.
Right.
But they didn't get much rum influence. I'm going to go on a limb and say that I think Z used some Cuban tobacco in here. I think he snuck some of this shit in his fillers. So Z, if you're watching, you could tell me. I won't tell everybody. But you're undisclosed. I'm going to go out on a limb and say you put some filler Cuban tobacco in there.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the flavor and the complexity of the first third, but then after that, the cigar became very simple in its flavor. Had a really good performance the first half of the cigar, and then some relights after that caused a bit of a drop in the scoring there. I think this is very easily approachable to any level of smokers. You know, the flavors are, you know, mellow, easily identified. Strength level isn't going to hit anybody over the head or anything like that. But like you said with the rum barrel thing, I really didn't experience any flavors that demonstrated that it was there. Not saying it wasn't, just I didn't experience anything that would tell me that it was. I would definitely revisit the cigar, hoping that I'd get some better construction and maybe I'd get to experience those flavors that you were experiencing. But I'd say, you know, check one out. I know the price point's high, $20. But you know, I think it's probably worth a shot, especially if they have the experience that you had, because it sounded like you thought it was a fantastic cigar. So it'd definitely be worthwhile. And what you're saying, you know, using that Cubanesque term, I could kind of see how that would be a way to describe this, because there's been some Cuban cigars that I've smoked that have, you know, that I wouldn't say are all that great. You know, they're decent, and they kind of have this same profile where you just kind of get that lone cedar note that kind of just runs along, and you know, I think it's, you know, might be boring or whatever it is, but you know, it's there. And I almost kind of want to say that this reminds me of the Cuban Anejados project, where I smoked these and it feels like the cigar is kind of aged itself out, where it's like
So you're specifically referring to the Hoyle.
Yeah. So it's just like very, very mild and mellow, and it's just a kind of a single note, and you just feel like the tobacco has kind of passed its age, and where you would have got a more robust flavor from it. So, but I don't know, maybe that was due to a tighter draw or something like that I was having. But because what you experienced was very different, and I know you smoke a lot of Cuban cigars, so if it matches up kind of with that profile or those notes, then I was just missing something in that cigar. So I definitely like to revisit it and see if I get a better experience. So getting into scores, you gave this an 8.20. I gave it a 5.67. How do you think your score matched up with your experience?
That's a high score.
Mm-hmm. But everything you said seemed like you really liked it.
No, I did. I'm in my head thinking about what else I scored in that range so far this year.
Yamasa.
Yamasa, Mikarita in that range probably as well.
Yep.
But no, I mean it's a tasty cigar. I mean, I don't really know Cordoba Morales. Like I honestly haven't spoken anything of theirs other than this one. So I have no clue what the heck they have out there. I will, because we got some. If there were the ones from them that we'll smoke in review. But knowing that Z has a love for Cuban tobacco and Cuban cigars, I could totally see him doing this in tribute to that. Like, it's kind of like his take on it. And knowing that I really enjoy, a nice Cuban cigar. I mean, who the heck doesn't? But if you haven't, you smoked the fucking fake cigar. So, it's so it's good. Like, I'm good with that score. I will put this in the special cigar category, meaning this is perhaps more of a celebratory cigar. And if I were to put it on that point, it will be. I mean, you're looking at like guys like Davidoff, Byron's, the Atabey, and things of that nature. So those are pretty tough shoes to fill. But nonetheless, price point excluded. It was just a tasty cigar, and it was a really good cigar.
Yeah, I think my score matches up with mine. I mean, it was above, slightly above average. I was really hoping that I'd get the experience that you had. It just didn't pan out for me. I mean, first start was very good, and then after that, kind of just dropped off for me. It just got very, very linear, kind of single note. So I just didn't have the complexities and breadth of flavor that you got. So that's the way kind of it shook out for me. Like I said, I'm definitely going to revisit it again and give it a try. I'm hoping for a better experience. So, any final thoughts on this cigar?
Z, get back to me. You let me know that I could confirm that you put some Cuban tobacco in here. That's all right. We'll just keep it between you and me, but I need that confirmation. I need to know that my palate makes some sense.
Right. All right. Well, thanks for watching this video. If you're just catching this on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to us. You'll get notified every time we put up a new review recap. And be sure to check out the website, developingpalates.com, to read the full written review. And follow us on all the social media channels: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Google+. And thank you for watching, and we'll catch you on the next video.